If you remember, this is where I was on day 2 of this administration. Is the press corps getting sick of Psaki's non-answers? Crazy Town, roll it.
Even before this this meeting today, I should say. Just check me if I don't get to all of your questions. I will try to do my best. Of the best path forward is to work to pass the George Floyd Policing Act. But I would say that the president was addressing racial equity, and he certainly will use the power of his presidency to move it forward. I think what is, I should say more specifically, we've been in touch with a range of groups, the Leadership Conference,
But what is your message to some congressional Republicans who have expressed skepticism about whether the White House is authentically interested in negotiating here, given how things played out with the COVID relief bill?
Well, I would say that the president, you don't use the president of the United States' time multiple times over, including 2 infrastructure meetings, bipartisan infrastructure meetings he's already had, or the meeting today, if he did not want to authentically hear from the members attending about their ideas.
You mentioned Roberta Jacobson.
Mm-hmm.
Why did she make the decision to step down from that post?
It was always Ambassador Jacobson's intention to stay for about 100 days, and she is retiring, as she deserves, as she has certainly paid her time to do, and so that was always her intention, to stay for a period of time. Well, it was done by a collection of smart and brilliant people on our economic team that you probably wouldn't necessarily identify on the street, but sounds like a good profile piece to me.
Senator John Cornyn called Joe Biden's tweets unimaginably conventional and said that his comments were largely scripted and questioned whether he was really in charge. Does the White House have any reaction?
Good question.
Well, I can confirm that the President of the United States does not spend his time tweeting conspiracy theories. He spends his time working on behalf of the American people. Well, first let me say we are concerned, as I've said in the past, but we've been, of course, watching it over the course of the weekend, about the increasing aggression of Russian forces on the border.
Do we have to gather? 12:45.
I think it's 1 o'clock. 12:55. Okay, 10 more minutes. Alex is so responsible for keeping track. She is. Well, look, I think, one, we recognize we're not always the best messengers. We certainly know that President Biden and Vice President Harris may not be the right voices in a range of communities across the country. There is still ongoing research on what is most effective and how to prevent distribution and the pandemic traveling further. So it's a pandemic. We don't think it's easy. We know it's difficult. It's required a lot of sacrifice. But at the same time, we're trying to provide accurate public health-based guidance on what people can do once they have taken the vaccine. You can have dinner inside together. Well, I think I answered a version of this question earlier, but let me try again.
But is there concern that the actions of an ally are derailing the U.S.
I think I've answered your question. Did you have another one?
I didn't think it was an answer.
Okay, I'm sorry to hear that. I've answered it a couple times.
Is there a worry, though, about sort of this increased militarization, given...
I didn't call it that. Those are your words, not mine. We worked with them to increase law enforcement at the border to deter the travel, which is a treacherous journey where many lose their lives. I think we have to gather. Thank you so much. Okay.
Wow. Some questions on the border all of a sudden. The Biden administration has now made some changes, and Jen Psaki's a little defensive about them. A little more beefed up security, a little more calls for these other countries to do a little more on their side. Sounds like, whoa, I don't know. Maybe kind of what we had before. Oh, maybe not. Couldn't dare say that.